AM 1060 WMEL. The views expressed on the following program are those of the hosts, callers, and guests, and are not necessarily those of WMEL staff, management, or advertisers.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Helping Seniors of Brevard, the radio arm of the nonprofit organization called Helping Seniors of Brevard. My name is Kay Kaiser. I'm sitting in for Joe Steckler today. He's on a special assignment. Actually, he's being videotaped for some new television shows that are going to be airing soon. So watch your calendars and check back with us if you need to call us at the office. We are at 321-473 7770, and we'll be happy to share all of that information for you. So this is interesting because I always enjoy radio, I enjoy TV. That was a little bit of my background as well. And I'm very pleased to welcome our guest today, Miss Jacquie Esterline. Welcome, Jacquie.
Hello, Kay. It's good
Hello.
to be here. It's good to be here. And actually, I got a little, clue to where Joe might be. You know that Jaguar that Helping Seniors is trying to raffle off?
Yes, I bet he's out and about riding around in that, huh? You think?
I've seen him out selling tickets for that.
Uh-huh.
It's a beautiful, beautiful vehicle.
Well, we want to talk more about that for sure because that's going to be our major fundraiser. And anybody who wants to purchase a ticket, we'll give you a lot more detail on that. But first, I want to get a shout out to our underwriters, our sponsors that make this program possible. Al Dia Today. If you haven't seen that newspaper, Javier is the publisher, and he publishes the newspaper both in Spanish and English. So we're reaching out into that whole market here. There was a special article that was just written about Joe in the latest newspaper. We also want to give a thanks to Canadian Meds of Melbourne. Mr. Joe Pons welcomes any calls, and I found out yesterday that he services not just Brevard, but all throughout the United States in helping people save a lot of money on your prescription medication. So we'd be more than happy to provide you with his telephone number. Courtney and Braswell Financial Group, Ebony News Today, Ear Care, Handy Pro of the Space Coast, Hometown News. Watch for our articles once a month, usually the third Thursday or Friday that it comes out in Hometown News. Joe Steckler always writes wonderful articles, and we'll be coming out with the third edition of an elder-friendly community in the next edition. So we're working on a lot of new things here to try to make it informative and educate our not only listening audience for radio, our print. We have an 8-page newsletter in Senior Scene magazine each month, and we're on television 5 days a week. So we have a special guest here, as with Jacquie Esterline, representing Levin Home Care Nurse Registry. Also, thank you to Kindred at Home, and one of our most recent sponsors is Carla Pickerel. She has a new company called Organized Creative Designs. And what she does is when somebody wants to downsize or, Jacquie, I know you've heard a lot of people and gone into homes where people were just, I hate to say it, hoarders. They don't want to throw away anything. So she comes in and she will help you get more organized. So that's a great service here, and we're proud to have her be part of Helping Seniors of Brevard. So we'll pick up on our second half of our program today and mention our other sponsors that make this radio show possible. But Jacquie Esterline, your official title is Director of Marketing. Is that correct?
That is my official title, Kay. It's so, sometimes I think it's just not the right title because with what we do at Levin Home Care, or what I do with Levin Home Care, it's more than just marketing the product that we have. It's helping seniors find what is right for them, because I'm not always the right move, I'm not always the right situation, but I'm going to sit down and I'm going to talk with the folks, with the families, and find out, is it going to make the difference having someone come in and help out for a couple hours a day, maybe to come and live in the home with them, or just have somebody that can take them to doctor's appointments, because sometimes that's what makes the big difference.
Sure.
But you've got to really fit it to that person. So it's it's not just an easy marketing job. This is what it is. It's what's
Right.
right for the person at the time.
And you basically need to assess that individual to determine what type of needs that they're looking for more carefully.
Absolutely.
We've had this discussion, and I find it kind of interesting because we found that as recent as yesterday. We had a caller, and you spoke to his friend. And I find, and this has come up more often than not often, is the fact that I may get a call from an individual who says, well, I might need some help, but I'm reluctant to have someone come into my home. So they still want to live independently in their home, but to have some stranger come in, to a lot of people, that's fearful. Or the second part of it is they simply just say, I don't need any help. And then they oftentimes wait until a crisis, and they do. So would you elaborate a little bit on that for us?
That happens so often. The door gets opened a little bit, and people know that they need a little bit of help. They realize it. All of a sudden, there's an epiphany. Oh, my gosh, this has happened. And then when they make that, they reach out and they think, oh, my gosh, what have I done? I've been independent all my life. I've never needed help. I figured it out myself, and now I've admitted, things are happening, and it's scary because the news media, television, whatever, sometimes scares people into, if you tell that you need help, then all these terrible things are going to happen, and people are going to flood your home, and so people get scared. And again, sometimes it's from the media, whether it's the television, whether it's newspaper articles. And it's really good to be aware that, things can happen. But if you reach out for help early enough and you get someone in to help with those little things.
And that's all part of the planning process, because you're right, Jackie. So many people wait until there's a crisis situation. And now what do I do? I want to put out a couple telephone numbers here. First of all, anything that we talk about and any resources that you may be looking for, Helping Seniors of Brevard is here to help you find those resources, because let's face it, folks, it's really difficult to navigate the elder system. And that number to dial is area code 321-473-7770. And oftentimes we miss the fact that I want to put out that if anybody listening out there today would like to ask a question to Jacquie Esterline with Levin Home Nurse Registry, by all means, call the radio station here at 321-241-1060, and she'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. So there's a couple numbers for you. I think, Jacquie Esterline, the fact that, there are so many, home health agencies out there, it becomes extremely difficult to determine what might be the right fix. I could get a call from a son or a daughter looking for mom and dad, and they could be calling me from another state, and they found about Helping Seniors of Brevard. But one thing I really appreciate about your Levin Home Nurse Registry is the fact that you do not require a contract.
Correct.
You do not require a minimum.
Correct.
And there's one other thing in there. What am I missing?
Well, it's the flexibility of it. We're not going to lock you into any kind of schedule that says, we sat down today and we've talked, and it's going to be a caregiver coming in, 5 hours a day, 6 hours a day for a specific period of time. We understand needs are going to change.
Sure.
And from me, I hope those needs are going to change in a good way.
Right.
Bad salesperson I am. I hope your needs are going to change in a good way. And at some point in time, maybe you can say, I'm good. I don't need anybody. We've done a good job, and we've gotten that person the support, and they're going to be okay on their own for a while, and maybe they'll need us again.
Sure.
But I think with any service that's out there, they should always be looking at, they're hoping they're doing their job the best that they can do, and that they're going to get people to that next level.
Right.
And
that's very important. A lot of people that get released from a hospital, they go home, they haven't made really any definitive plans to have someone help them, and that's kind of sad. So we'll talk more about that too. But the big thing I find is that oftentimes when you shop around, if you're looking for, and I got to specify, you're kind of like the second level. You have employees that are CNAs, home health aides, and what else did I miss there?
Companions, but
Okay.
what we are, so ours are not going to be employees. They're contracted folks, which is really important. They're not our employees. Really important to note, though, is that you do have organizations that their folks are employees, and then you have the registries, which they are contracted employees. What's really important to highlight is that in either situation, and again, it goes back to there's a lot of misinformation out there.
Right.
There's a lot of folks. The business has gone crazy. I mean, actually, because in Brevard County, there's hundreds of home care, home health care organizations. Some people do it for all different reasons. But what is so very important is that we all are licensed with the state. We all have to have surveys, inspections.
Right.
The state goes through our files, our the folks that work for us that we have as contract employees. They're level 2 background checked, same as if they are an employee.
And that's really important because seniors listen to the media. They hear different stories that, somebody's been taken advantage of. I know when we just first opened our doors, one of the first calls that I had, I'll never forget, was a lady who called she was in her 80s, and she had lost her husband. And this young gal said, well, I can take care of you. Just let me move in. Turned out she was expecting a child, and she ripped this lady off royally. So for people thinking, oh, well, I'll just hire somebody, I'll post a notice in my church, bulletin board, and they get these calls, and people come in and say, well, I'm qualified. I can help you out. I can get you dressed. I can do, but they're not qualified, Jackie. No. And the fact is that that's a danger. To me, that's a red flag. And we've talked about this numerous times, and the fact that, and you've even written an article, I believe, on that, really be careful with whom you have and can trust come in, because going that route with someone that's not qualified, who's not properly trained, not only could be taking a hold of your checking account, your savings account, stealing your jewelry, all kind of things. And then the senior finds this out, and that person is nowhere to be found, but the senior is afraid to prosecute for fear for their life.
Yeah, and that happens way too many times.
Yeah.
I hear that all the time. One of the organizations that I work with, we're trying to come up with a plan, a program, because there are people that are going to insist on going out there or accepting the help from someone that's knocked on the door and saying, I can help.
Right.
So we're trying to facilitate a way that they can do some kind of background check on these people, or help get some kind of sense of comfort that this person they're bringing into their home is going to be okay. And there's no, let me just say, there's no perfect solution to the problem, but you can at least be a little cautious. You can do, the background checks help.
Sure.
Sometimes just by saying, okay, you want to come and help me, and you're going to do it for, $5 a day or whatever, some ridiculous amount, which, you kind of laugh, but I've heard some bizarre things, but along with the bizarre things come what you just said.
Right.
The jewelry goes, the money goes, and all kinds of things. But if somebody can say to that person that has offered this really, inexpensive way, hey, you know what? That's great. You're going to do that. So I'm going to have you have a background check done on you, and I can tell you,
I know where you're going with
they're going to turn around and walk away, because
Yep.
they don't want that. They know that something could pop up, and even when we have folks come into us, and we say there's a level 2, and all these things that are involved. Sometimes they say, "Oops, you know what? I left something in my car." Well, they go to their car and they never come back. So. Just by saying something like, oh, you know what, this is great. It sounds all good, but, I want you to have a background check, or I want you to be screened.
And if they refuse, just, that something's going on here. They've got this whole scheme planned.
A lot of times, that's...
And the other thing, too, Jackie Esterline, is the fact that when you think about it and you start comparing, and I want to emphasize, you have no contracts, you have no minimums, but if you amortize the cost out a little bit, often what I've found from your agency is that you're less expensive than a great deal of majority of them out there.
We are. The big difference being there's a lot of folks that are franchises. They are not. We're not a franchise. We have, we're one company, one owner.
Right.
So we don't have a lot of the overhead, the same overhead. We don't have to pay a portion of our profits to an organization. We don't, have to pay the rights to use the name.
Right.
We're Levin Home Care.
Right.
And so it brings our costs down. We work with the same pool of CNAs as everyone else.
Okay.
Same pool of folks.
There you go.
And, I don't know how to put it any better. We work with the same pool of CNAs that everyone else does.
Okay.
We screen folks, and there may be somebody that we won't have work for us that one of the other companies will say, sure, join our team. We all screen our folks. We all do the level 2s. Again, we're all licensed by the state. So.
Right.
And we pay our girls the same amount as, everybody else. But again, our overhead's different.
And that makes a big difference in the fact that you can be very competitively priced in the field. Let's talk about, Jackie, the fact that, when somebody's looking for help, oftentimes when I take a caller helping seniors of Brevard, I will ask them, okay, tell me about what type of help you may be looking for. And they say, well, I just can't cook, I can't clean, I can't drive myself, but then I'm starting to feel a little bit uneasy on my feet, and I've started to fall a little more frequently. And falls for seniors is probably one of the most dangerous things that can happen. I mean, I know I just fell a few weeks ago on my ankle and sprained it badly. And I can imagine if you're in your 70s and 80s how you become more frail, let's be honest, and things take time to heal. But I say, well, listen, are you doing okay getting up out of bed okay and getting yourself bathed? Well, often I get, some days are better than others, but I'm beginning to realize that maybe, just maybe, I might need that little extra help. So I would like to have you, Jacquie Esterline, explain to our listening audience, there's different levels of care. Your Levin Home Nurse Registry can actually do what we call hands-on help.
Correct.
Explain the difference between someone looking for just need somebody to house clean and cook, things like that, versus what you offer.
And that might be somebody that would call Jennifer with Seniors Helping Seniors. The folks that need that companion, that friend, because sometimes that truly makes a huge difference, that companion, that friend, that
they're
person
lonely.
outside. Right. Then you get to the point where, again, the folks need help in the shower with bathing and dressing. And, people don't realize how important, it really is important. Cleanliness is, what was the old saying? Cleanliness is
godliness.
Godliness,
yes.
next to godliness.
Right.
And it truly is, because the seniors that are not bathing correctly, they're not doing their due diligence, maybe.
Right.
A lot of things can happen. We're talking, sores and things. So getting somebody in there, like what we can do, the hands-on care to help someone bathe and stay clean makes a huge difference. Or helping them get out of bed, that we can actually put our hands on someone to brace them or steady them, to get them up, to get them started. And again, you know what, my thing is, it's to help. It's not to take away. It's not to, tell someone, okay, just let me do the whole thing, the whole process.
Right.
Usually in these situations, they have the Medicare agency in there that's been the home health that's been doing therapies. And so it's real important that whoever's going in is understanding what those organizations, the physical therapists, are educating the person on, because we want to keep encouraging that.
Well, that's very important. That's extremely important. So with a hands-on agency with Levin Home Nurse Registry, you're able to stay in the, quote, I want to say loop, to understand more thoroughly about that individual and what kind of needs that they're really needing.
Our caregiver can really, support that person. They can be there to, again, take a look at what the therapists are saying. Here's, because I know they all leave a sheet of what the exercises should be, or what the meal plans should be, or all these things.
Right.
And what the caregivers can do is they can encourage them to do those things. Or if they're supposed to do, lift weights or squeeze a ball, call or whatever, the caregiver can do that with them. They can do it at the same time, because it really, exercising is no fun on your own. It is
true.
just not fun. and if it's
true.
left to my own resorts, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And I've seen more people. Actually, I can go back to my parents, and when I was in the situation with them, and my father had Parkinson's, and he was very good. He was very, very good with doing exercises and things. But truly, if he didn't have a little bit of encouragement,
and that's
do it or don't do it.
Motivation here. We need
yeah.
somebody behind you here. Folks, you're listening. My name is Kay Kaiser. My official title is the information specialist, but I become more of a caseworker with my callers, because more often than not, I find when a caller may call, they're looking for legal assistance, or like we're talking with Jacquie Esterline today, hands-on type care that, they know that they need some help here coming up. But then I often find that, wait a minute, whatever your name is I'm talking to today, I will say, oh, wait a minute, were you married to a veteran by chance? And I'll get, well, yes, I was. And I say, no, you're telling me you're on a pretty limited income here, $700-800 a month, and your passed away husband served in the Korean War. He was in service 90 days, and out of those 90 days, he served 1 day during war. Well, yes. I said, you still have his discharge papers? Well, yes, I do. But now, wait a minute. Let's take this to another level, Jacquie Esterline. Okay, now this lady suddenly realizes that she may qualify for what's called the aid and attendance program, unbeknownst to her. $1,100, $1,400, whatever amount it is that comes in now makes a huge difference in her life and living in her home and aging with dignity. Now, I know you're primarily private pay, correct?
Correct.
But let's talk about that. Could that program be tied in to help pay for your services?
Well, absolutely. Now, what's going to happen when they make that application? They have to show the need,
right?
And so normally, what has happened? They've already, they're already working with us, or they're working with someone, and that's real important too, because it's only really going to be. I don't want to say valid. I can't think of a really good word to use, but they need to have someone. They need to prove that they need the help by paying for care.
And usually it comes from the doctor.
Correct.
Okay. Let's pick up on a little bit on that, because that whole program is a really not publicized program for a lot of seniors that need to know more about that in our second half. We're getting ready to take a quick break here. Stay with us. We're on Helping Seniors of Brevard. We'll be right back.
AM 1060 WMEL.
Welcome back to Helping Seniors of Brevard, radio arm of Helping Seniors of Brevard. My name is Kay Kaiser. I'm sitting in for Joe Steckler today. And with my wonderful guest, Jacquie Esterline, we kind of figured out, well, he says he's taping for television, but he's got this beautiful Jaguar that we're raffling tickets off, and I want to share with you some information on that. But before I do, I want to go and give some special thank you to a few more of our sponsors that help make this radio program possible. Riverview Senior Resort. They're getting ready to open and taking applications now. They're an assisted living and memory care in the Palm Bay, right on the water. Senior Scene Magazine, Seniors Helping Seniors. Dr. Lee Sheldon, Spotlight Magazine, the Eye Institute, the Fountains of Melbourne, Vitas Innovative Hospice Care of Brevard, William Johnson, I think he prefers to go by Bill. In many cases, I hear him on the radio with just Bill. This station, WMEL 1060, Wusthof Health System, and Zon Beachside Assisted Luxury Living. They're getting ready to open up here as well very soon in the southern part of Brevard County. So they will be having assisted living and a memory care as well, but they've got a unique Zon philosophy. So we've just got so many exciting things to talk about and to help educate our listening audience here. And I feel like if you didn't get a chance to catch our show, everything that we do is archived on the website, helpingseniors.brevard.org. All you simply need to do is go to the website and click on the Media tab. That Media tab is going to open up another window for print, radio, and television. And everything that we do, there we even have a little rectangular search area that you can type in a specific subject. And let's say you want to learn about hands-on care, somebody to help you out in the house. We're going to find Jacquie Esterline has participated many times by writing articles for our newsletter, as well as been a guest several times on radio, and she's on TV. So this is our way of giving back to our partners because we feel very strongly it's so important to educate seniors and their caretakers. It's really difficult to navigate the elder system. Where do I turn? Who do I go to? Now I'm in a crisis. What do I do? So take down our number here, 473-7770. We'll be happy to answer any of your calls. I know sometimes I get calls in the evening and weekends, and I promise you, I will always return the call. I may be in the car and not have all my resources in front of me, but I do acknowledge the calls. Besides that, we've got a pretty good backup system. Anybody who leaves a message, it goes to my smartphone, it goes to Joe Steckler's email, and our media, Carrie Fink's email. But before I go any further, Jacquie Esterline, thanks again for being here with us today with Levin Home Nurse Registry.
Thank you.
You are not only involved with this on the level of helping seniors of Brevard with your company, but you're actually on the board. So you got an insight about really what's cooking there and what's coming up. And one of the big things, I know, you got your eye on this beautiful ruby red 1992 Jaguar, I bet, don't you?
Oh, gosh. What an opportunity. Like I said, I saw the vehicle. I've seen the pictures. I've heard Joe talk about it. And the vehicle was donated to us.
That's
so
right.
It's not like we are taking money out of our budget, anything. That car was donated to us. And it's absolutely gorgeous. I saw it actually for the first time yesterday. I actually got to, he left me touch it. I touched the seat. I touched it. It's gorgeous.
It's in mint condition,
isn't it?
It is in
mint condition. And I wish I could tell you, I think the mileage, I want to say it's like 38,000 miles.
You're right. Yeah, that's what I understand
driven,
too.
when people say driven to church on Sundays,
That's it.
I think that was it. It had to be. But let me tell you what, I don't know how you could just do that, because Joe is, gleaming over this gift that was given to us to help, get an endowment fund started, get some things going aside and above what we do now. Mm-hmm. He's just beaming over this car, but he's telling me it's got 2 engines, and I'm like, really cool. I hit 2 engines. Okay, I can do this.
Well, it's an XJS. So that's a muscle car basically, isn't it?
A leather interior,
Wow.
Just beautiful leather interior. Like I said, we are so grateful that someone stepped up and said, I really believe in helping seniors of Brevard and the goals that you have set to help seniors.
Mm-hmm.
We have a lot of things we want to do. There's a tremendous number of things we want to do to help seniors, from little to big.
Right. But if anybody wants to buy a raffle ticket, mm-hmm. it's only $25 a ticket. And you got to remember, folks, that's a tax deductible on your tax return.
Absolutely.
And we're selling at bargain prices. Mm-hmm. You can buy 5 tickets for a $100 donation.
And if I'm not mistaken, Kay, I'm pretty sure, and you can confirm this, but I'm pretty sure on our website there is a PayPal button.
There is a PayPal, but also the tickets are going to be, we now have a calendar up as to mm-hmm. where the Jaguar is going to be displayed.
This weekend.
It's coming up this weekend at Holy Name of Jesus Church. There's going to be tickets sold then. Also, Gatto's Tires and Auto Service have graciously come on board to allow us to display the Jaguar at different locations throughout Brevard County at their retail outlets. In addition to, they're going to be selling tickets, so that will be on a cash or check basis. Mm-hmm. But if anybody, and I put the shout out here because it's all about helping seniors of Brevard, and we want to offer you a chance to just call our number 473-7770. I am taking names and numbers, and we'll get a ticket to you. And Jackie, you want to see this flyer? Can you reach it?
I think I can reach it. I just want to say that the date of the actual drawing is going to be December 3rd at Gatto's, and we have a huge event planned around the raffle itself.
Right.
So
I think
mark your calendars.
There's going to be a second and third prize, too, to be announced.
Mm-hmm. To be announced.
To be announced.
No,
Don't tell all the secrets yet, huh?
Can't tell secrets.
Okay. Well, I wanted to make sure because, this, when we talk about an endowment, folks, what I'm talking about is a special fund set aside, because I can't tell you how many callers that I have call me that are on such a limited income. I don't know how they're doing it. And, for example, somebody called me a few days ago saying, my husband is losing his teeth. Do you have somebody that can help him? We make a combined income of $1,100 for both of us. So, there's new foundation. We found Smile Angel Foundation because she's a nonprofit and trying to help, and of course the Health Alliance and so forth. But when you're limited on what you can spend, our future goal is to maybe have some money aside to try to help those who just can't simply help themselves, and that's what an endowment is. Mm-hmm. So we're really positive in thinking that a lot of people are going to jump on board and say, you know what, for $25 or even $100, I want to be able to help seniors in Brevard County, because I live here and I know that I am getting as a baby boomer into that bracket. So we know eventually age is going to happen. We can't take that away. We can't turn back the clock as much as we'd like. So, the senior population is only going to grow. Wouldn't you agree, Jackie?
Oh, absolutely.
So, especially in Brevard County.
Yep.
All right. Well, you had a couple plugs that you wanted to bring to the attention here. You've got a couple things you're involved with.
I am. Project Lifesaver, and I've talked about that before when Joe's been here. It's something that's very near and dear to my heart. For those folks that have dementia that are at risk for wandering, dementia, whether it's Alzheimer's, whether it's from a stroke, sometimes things happen. You get a bladder infection.
Yeah.
As you get older, things, it's not the same old kind of situation. You get sick and you can fix it.
Right.
Sometimes you can't. And with these issues, sometimes people will not think about where they're going. It's not so much that they're running out the door and breaking down the door that they're gonna just not think about it and they're gonna wander. And we need to find these people.
Exactly.
So the Project Lifesaver is a banding that we do. It's through the Sheriff's Department, Brevard County Sheriff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think many of you have heard Wayne Ivey talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Downs, he's the president of our board for Project Lifesaver. Mm-hmm. And he's done some commercials, some TV spots. But what we feel is so important is that these people that are at risk, that they are, that we have a way of finding them. And with Project Lifesaver Band.
And this is not like a GPS. I understand it's a radio frequency.
It's a radio
that's used,
frequency, right?
Okay.
So for whatever reason, it seems that these folks tend to vacillate toward water. And with what we have, with this band that we have, should they get into the water, we're still going to be able to track them.
Good.
It's still going to be there. The really important thing to remember is that there's really no reason financially that you shouldn't think about doing this, because we've worked very, very hard, done fundraising, have had grants come through. We want to band people, and it's not a matter of can I afford it or can I not. If you have the need, we will band you.
You'll find a way.
We will find a way. And so money is not an object at all with this program.
The important thing is the safety of that individual.
Safety of the individual. So if you are interested, just give a call to area code 321-264-7755. Again, that was 321-264-7755. It's Project Lifesaver, and it's through the Brevard County Sheriff's Department.
And if you didn't get the number, don't fret. Call Helping Seniors of Brevard. We've got all those numbers on our resource list here, too. But you had another one that you wanted to just explain briefly.
Space Coast Honor Flight. Actually, Saturday at the car show, it's really going to be hugely focused around honor flight.
Good.
We send World War II and Korean veterans to Washington, D.C.
For the day.
To see the memorials.
At no charge.
At no charge for the veteran. We have taken some Vietnam veterans, and that's, like I said, our priorities, it's going to be medically needy, and that could be Vietnam veterans, then the World War II and the Korean veterans.
Right.
We do 7 flights. We're into our 3rd one coming up. We take a break in July because it's just a little bit too warm.
Yeah.
Then we do go until October. But it is a wonderful, wonderful program. We have folks that are in their hundreds that have actually gone.
Wow.
We take a doctor. We take nurses. We take
my hats
oxygen.
are all off to the veterans. Get them together. That's a wonderful, wonderful with that whole to be able to get those veterans together, and you have volunteers that help them, right?
Oh, we have a tremendous number of volunteers.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. And we're always looking for more. Always,
Okay.
can always look for, always need volunteers.
Okay, well, if anybody wants to participate in that, and they didn't get the number, call Helping Seniors of Brevard. Everything that we have, in our print, our radio, our TV is archived on our website. So don't hesitate if you just didn't get it here today and you're internet savvy a little bit or just want to check out what's going on. Everything is on helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Okay, well, I would say that I'm not an unfamiliar voice. I've done a number of radio shows with Joe Steckler. My name is Kay Kaiser, the Information Specialist for Helping Seniors of Brevard. And my special guest today we've been talking to is Jacquie Esterline with Levin Home Nurse Registry. Gosh, what I'm thinking, Jacquie? How many years have I known you now?
Oh, gee whiz.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Quite a while.
Both of you have been, and I have been working in the senior market for, it just seems forever. But nonetheless, we always encourage you to call Helping Seniors 473-7770. And if you'd like more information for about Jacquie, you didn't catch her number, we've got everything on hand here. But Jacquie, I want to get a little bit back to some of the prospects that call and say, well, and I'm talking maybe, let's talk about the family. You get a son and daughter that say, my mom and dad need help. But, dad's just so stubborn. He's not going to let anybody come in because he's been married to mom for all these years and she's been his caretaker. But guess what? Mom's getting a little frail too, and she can't do all of that. And so oftentimes that, I had numbers of calls from a senior lady married to a man that was probably over 300 pounds. And she says, I can't lift him up and get him dressed anymore. And guess what? He fell. And we had to call 911. So he ended up going to the hospital and came home. We needed help. So, I know that you talked briefly to me earlier in the show, prior to the show, Jacquie, the fact that you had an experience recently with just when so many people go to the hospital, they get released, they're not really ready to handle things or don't have things in place, and guess what happens? They go back to the hospital, which is costing not only the hospital, but the tax dollars and everything, just an enormous amount of money.
Yeah, and it really is. And now there's a focus on readmits to the hospital.
Right.
Huge focus on, well, I guess I want to say it's at least 2 years, and I could be wrong how long ago, but anyway, some penalties have been put into place that if people go, if they're discharged and sent home too soon and they end up going back, then the hospitals are penalized. But it's broadening to skilled facilities, and even the doctors that are making rash decisions are kind of getting penalized. But you know what, Kay, it goes back to communication. And gosh, the social workers, I've gone into the hospital and they are under such pressure. I mean, they get it from both ends. I mean, they understand that if they're sending people home too soon and they end up coming back, they're in trouble. And but the hospital says, get them out.
And the hospital's saying, well, wait a minute, we've got a line here of people that need that room.
Right.
So they're trying to do a quick turnover, but oftentimes, it may be actually too soon to release that patient.
Right. But, and the thing is that not always, again, it goes back to communication, not always is the family or that person themselves willing or understanding how bad the situation is if they go home too early.
Well, and probably they don't have the wherewithal in thinking because they're under a lot of stress to ask the right questions.
Well, not only that, I have to say, just from some personal experience, people go in now and they have surgeries done. It's amazing. You can go in and have, open heart surgery and they're ready to send you home in a day. It's just amazing. Or you've had hip replacement and they want you to stand up in a day. But you're still taking a lot of, there's a lot of medications that are involved in some that actually have an impact on what you understand and don't understand.
Yeah, so being cognizant to, be able to speak and ask questions about, wait a minute, and what about their reaction to that compared to what they're already taking? Right.
So they get into the situation where they've had whatever it is done at the hospital. They're coming in because there's a process and there's, they want things to roll along, and you'll get a social worker or doctor saying, so this is what we're going to do next. And then there you are still laying in bed, little, not quite there yet.
Yeah.
And you're not thinking, oh my gosh, I go home and I'm not going to be able to get up like I used to. I've had a hip replacement or whatever. I'm not thinking, before it was fine. I was good to go.
Sure.
Went to the refrigerator when I wanted to. So it's not that anybody's given anybody, a lot of times the wrong story intentionally.
Right.
It's they're just not given enough time.
Or information.
Right. So it's really important to have someone that's there with you to help you process what's going on and to say, hey, wait a second, just hang on.
Hold on a minute.
Yeah.
Let me make sure I understand this.
Yeah, this is the reality of what's going to happen. And again, it benefits everybody. It benefits the hospital.
The bottom line. It's not only the bottom line, but the individual.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's talk about Jacquie Esterline, some of the people that are discharged, and coming out of rehab. They've gone to the hospital, they need rehab, whether it be occupational, physical, or, whatever type of therapy. And then they're not quite able to do the things that they have. How many times can you say you've experienced that?
Oh, too many to even count.
That's what I thought.
And which actually, again, it goes back to the communication factor. I have a little lady now that I visited this morning, and sweetest lady, sweetest gal that you ever can even think of. But she thought, and was all excited she was going to go home tomorrow. Tomorrow's Friday, and she was all excited about that. But I had, in a discussion with, the social worker and things, I said, here's some questions you really need to ask her. Because I, with HIPAA and everything, I can't, but you really need to ask these questions about the home.
Right.
So that she can tell you
and that you can
how
plan
things
ahead.
are, and you can plan ahead
That's
and
the
determine
key.
if it's appropriate.
Yeah, that's the
at
key.
this point.
There's just so many callers that wait till the last minute.
They wait till the last minute. But you know what, Kate? The other thing, too, folks now, again, information is so restricted. It's so restricted.
But yet information is power.
It is.
That's the bottom line. It really is. And that's one of our strengths with doing and helping seniors of Brevard so different as a nonprofit, because here we are today doing another weekly radio show. Joe Steckler is being videotaped for new TV shows. We'll have another article in Hometown News, Spotlight Magazine, Aldea Today, Ebony News Today, and all these efforts are to try to help educate and bridge that. Wait a minute, I never thought about that. So I wake up every morning and I say, Jacquie Esterline, you know what? I wonder how many people are going to call today. And, the phone may not ring for 10 minutes, and okay, I'll be working on the newsletter or getting this done and everything. Then all of a sudden, bam, it just wide open. But we always return our calls. So if anybody is looking for a resource, our telephone number is 473-7770. And Jacquie, go ahead and give the number for your Levin Home Nurse Registry.
It's area code 321-768-0958.
Terrific. And if you didn't catch it, just call Helping Seniors of Brevard. Well, I would tell you something. I'm excited about the car raffle, and I'm sure Joe Steckler is excited about it and very proud. I mean, that one winner is going to be looking so good behind that wheel. I'm telling you, you'll be able to ride around. Maybe we should put a little metal thing. Thank you, Helping Seniors, as they drive around.
And I think with that low mileage, I'm sure that those 2 engines that are sitting in that car just haven't been used.
Yeah, there you go.
Great.
Well, I'll tell you, Jacquie Esterline, it's been a real pleasure to have you on the radio show with me today, and I hope that the listening audience maybe learned something a little bit along the way. Give us a call at 473-7770 or visit our website, helpingseniors.brevard.org. Give me a call. Let's get some raffle tickets sold here.
And Facebook.
And Facebook, you bet. We do all that social media, so we're across the board. We really, really want to help our seniors and caretakers in Brevard County. So join us on a mission here to buy a raffle ticket. And if you have a concern or if you have a question for a resource, give us a call, 473-7770. I think Joe Steckler will be back next week. Have a great day.